Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're the show that takes a whole stack of material articles, books, research, and, well, we dive deep to pull out the real gems for you. And today, we're getting into something really fundamental. Movement.
Yeah, and it's way more than just, hitting your step count or going to the gym.
Exactly. It's deeper, much deeper, about how moving connects to our psychology, our whole human story.
It really is striking. Have you ever noticed how people sometimes get emotional, like actually tear up when they talk about what movement really means to them?
Yeah, I have. It's powerful.
Right. It signals something way beyond just, physical fitness. The author of The Joy of Movement, which is our main source today, talks about how auditioning for a group exercise class, almost on a whim, totally changed her life. She found tremendous joy and meaning there. It wasn't just exercise, it was transformative. Mood, mind, relationships, the whole package.
And that's exactly what we want to unpack in this deep dive. Forget just the muscles and cardio for a minute. We're digging into the psychological side, the social power that comes from just moving your body.
It's not just what it does, but why it's so deeply wired into us. And really importantly, how you listening can maybe use these ideas.
Yeah, how you can tap into this for a richer, maybe more joyful life. Doesn't matter if you're running marathons or just starting to think about walking more.
Think of this as a bit of a shortcut, maybe, to understanding how to get those mental benefits from moving.
We're hoping for some aha moments today. Maybe about your own experiences or sparking some new ideas for feeling good. It's the how-to behind the feeling.
Okay, so where do we start? What's the first big idea?
Let's talk about the runner's high. We've all heard of it, right?
Sure, yeah. Always figured it was just endorphins kicking in after a hard run, feeling kind of good but tired.
Well, it seems it's much more complex, more primal than that. Get this. Way back in 1855, a philosopher, Alexander Bain, called the feeling from a fast walk or run a species of mechanical intoxication.
Intoxication.
Yeah. And he even compared it to the ecstatic worship of Bacchus, the god of wine, and, well, ecstatic revelry. That's a pretty intense comparison. That really reframes it, not just feeling good, but something almost transcendent.
Exactly. And the descriptions just get better. Vibar Cregan-Reed, a cultural historian, said his runner's highs felt as strong as bootleg whiskey. Made him want to, grab strangers and tell them how beautiful the world is.
Oh, I can almost picture that.
And then there's Scott Dunlap, a trail runner, who described it as feeling like 2 Red Bulls and vodka, 3 ibuprofen, plus a $50 winning lotto ticket.
Okay, now that paints a picture, so we're talking serious euphoria here.
Absolutely. And here's a really interesting part for everyone, not just runners. This high. It isn't exclusive to running.
Oh.
Nope. It's linked to continuous moderate intensity. Basically any activity where you put in the time and effort. Scientists have found similar boosts in brain chemicals, specifically these things called endocannabinoids. We'll get more into those from cycling, from walking on a treadmill, but at an incline, working a bit harder, even just hiking outdoors.
So the key is sustained effort, not necessarily the type of movement.
Precisely. Find your thing, put in the work, and that potential is there.
Which makes sense when you think about our evolution, right?
Totally. We tend to think humans are built for speed, but the science, our actual anatomy, screams endurance.
Like what specifically?
Well, look at our large glutes, our long Achilles tendons. They're perfect for pushing us forward efficiently over long distances. We have way more slow-twitch muscle fibers than other primates. Those are the ones that resist fatigue. Our running muscles have more mitochondria, the energy factories. And we have this unique thing, the neutral ligament in our neck, keeps our head steady when we run. Only other real endurance animals like wolves and horses have that.
So we're literally built for the long haul.
Born to go the distance, as the source puts it. Our ancestors' survival wasn't about short bursts. It was about traveling far and fast. Endurance was key.
There's that amazing story about the Hadza men in Tanzania, too.
Oh, yeah. The lion tracking. The researcher hears lions roaring at night, expects everyone to hunker down, right? But no, the Hadza men head out in the dark, track the lions, and basically steal their kill. That's raw ancestral endurance right there. Makes you rethink what we're capable of.
It really does. Puts my 30-minute jog in perspective.
Totally. And the brain chemistry behind this, the reward system,
Yeah.
involves those endocannabinoids we mentioned, our brain's own natural bliss chemicals.
Okay, so they make movement feel good, trigger the high.
Exactly. And we saw just how crucial they are with that failed weight loss drug, Rimonabant. Remember that?
Egly. It blocked those receptors, right, to reduce appetite.
It did, but the side effects were disastrous. Huge increases in anxiety, depression, even suicides. It got pulled from the market pretty fast.
Wow, that's serious.
There was this reporter, Hamilton Morris, who actually tried it, called it the opposite of a cannabis high. He felt intensely anxious, nauseous, just awful. So on high, he said.
Yikes.
But, and this is the key part when he stopped taking it, he described this unimaginable rebound euphoria. Felt amazing, optimistic, wanted to high-five strangers.
So turning the system back on had this massive positive effect.
Precisely. It shows how fundamental this system is. And in lab animals, blocking these chemicals didn't just stop them running on their wheels, it also stopped the benefits of exercise, like reduced anxiety. They were just as stressed as the non-exercising animals.
Okay, so connecting this back to us. Even if we don't get that full-blown euphoric high every time we exercise, that underlying chemistry is still working, still making us more resilient.
That seems to be the idea. It's like exercise acts as a buffer. There was this big study, the National Study of Daily Experiences.
What did that find?
It tracked thousands of adults and found that on days they were active, stressful things like a conflict at work or dealing with a sick kid just didn't hit them as hard mentally. Movement literally lessened the toll.
That's incredible, a built-in stress shield.
And the effect on anxiety is maybe even more startling. Get this. 30 minutes of exercise before being given a drug designed to cause panic attacks made people practically immune to the panic. The effect was apparently comparable to taking something like Ativan, a benzodiazepine.
Without the drowsiness.
Exactly. No sedation. Just the anti-anxiety benefit. It's a powerful, natural tool we all have access to.
The author uses it as a survival strategy, right? Exercising first thing, even though she's not a morning person.
Yeah, she feels braver, more optimistic, ready to face the day. It's like scheduling your resilience. Makes you think, what else are we missing out on if we underestimate this?
It does. And the flip side is just as important, the cost of not moving enough.
Oh, absolutely. It's pretty stark. Studies that forced active people to become sedentary showed really rapid negative effects.
Like what?
More anxiety, more tiredness, even hostility. And get this, within just 1 week of becoming sedentary, they reported a 31% drop in life satisfaction.
31%? In a week? That's huge.
Isn't it? And the step count linked to feeling more anxious and depressed and having lower life satisfaction was around 5,600 steps a day.
Which is actually slightly above what the average American or even the global average gets.
Exactly. We're not talking about needing to be super athletes here.
Yeah.
Just moving enough to avoid the downsides of being inactive is massive for our mental health.
Which leads us perfectly into the next question. Okay, movement is great, protects us, makes us feel better. But how do we actually make it stick? How do we get hooked in a good way?
Getting hooked is an interesting term here, isn't it?
Yeah.
But there's something to it. There was this old study by Frederick Bakeland in the 60s.
What'd he do?
He needed regular exercisers for a sleep study, but they had to stop exercising for a month. Problem was, almost nobody would do it, not for any amount of money.
Really? Why not?
They reported serious psychological distress from not exercising, like a real deprivation. It suggests a deep attachment, not just a habit.
Okay, so it taps into that reward system in the brain, like other addictions.
It does. All addictions start there, with that dopamine flood signaling reward, making the brain want more. Drugs often release other feel-good chemicals too, endorphins, serotonin, creating this powerful addictive mix.
But drug addiction has that dark side, right? Where the brain only wants the drug and other pleasures fade.
Exactly. The brain cells get sensitized just to the drug. Cocaine becomes more important than food or connection or beauty. The brain's anti-reward system kicks in, trying to compensate, leaving people feeling generally lousy and unable to enjoy normal life unless they get the drug.
Okay, but exercise is different.
Massively different. And this is crucial. Unlike drugs, exercise seems to expand our capacity for pleasure. It makes the reward system more sensitive to other good things, food, friends, nature, art.
So it doesn't narrow your focus, it broadens it.
Precisely. Which might be why it's so helpful in addiction recovery. Studies show physical activity reduces cravings for all sorts of substances, cannabis, nicotine, alcohol, even morphine. And in one trial with people recovering from meth abuse, just 8 weeks of walking, jogging, and strength training actually increased the availability of dopamine receptors in their reward system. It's like exercise literally helps rewire the brain for healthy pleasures.
That's amazing. And it's not just for addiction recovery, right? It helps with aging, too.
Absolutely. We naturally lose dopamine receptors as we age maybe 13% per decade, which can make everyday things feel less enjoyable.
The dreaded blah feeling.
Kind of, yeah. But physical activity fights the decline. Active older adults often have reward systems that look years, even decades younger. It's strongly linked to happiness and less depression later in life.
Which might explain why some people who avoided exercise when younger suddenly get really into it later on.
It's a very plausible reason. Their brains are seeking that reward, that feeling of vitality, and exercise delivers. It really is potent brain medicine.
The personal stories really drive this home. Like Nora Heifel went from hating running to calling it her drug of choice after recovering from alcoholism.
Incredible story, isn't it? Over 75 half marathons. She had these limiting beliefs. Growing up, sports aren't for girls. I was fat, but just decided, screw that. I'm going to go do stuff.
And her advice, just find that little bit of courage to start.
So powerful. And then Aurelia Ming Senarot's story. Contemplating suicide, goes for one last workout, hits a deadlift personal best.
And realizes she wants to live, wants to see how strong she can become. Chills.
Right. 5 years later, deadlifting 300 pounds. These aren't just about fitness, they're about reclaiming life. Finding the right movement at the right time can be world-changing. Like the woman finding freedom in movement after escaping abuse.
I know I'm in freedom when I move. That's stuck with me. And this drive to move, it can even be partly genetic, can't it?
It seems so. The author looked into her own genetics. The results were complex, as they often are, but the bigger point is that genetic variations linked to being active are actually pretty common in humans.
Because moving was so vital for survival.
Exactly. It's not some rare trait. It's deeply embedded in our species.
Like with her identical twin sister Jane, also deeply committed to exercise, uses running to manage depression.
Right, same genes, similar drive. Jane describes running as making the clouds part, the sunshine. It clearly fills a biological need for her.
And the author found her own path, right? Not traditional sports, but aerobics videos, then kickboxing.
Yeah, she wasn't coordinated in team sports, felt scared, anxious. Her brain expects calamity, as she puts it. But moving to music, mirroring others in aerobics, gave her that thrill of physical competence.
And the kickboxing, recommended by a psychic.
Huh. Yeah, she was skeptical, but tried it anyway. She used to clench her hands into worried fists, but throwing punches felt different, powerful. It shows how winding and unexpected our paths to finding joyful movement can be.
Which is a great transition, because often these journeys involve other people, bringing us to that collective joy.
Ah, yes, the power of moving together.
Yeah.
And the key concept here is synchrony.
Moving in time with others.
Exactly. The author felt it as a young group exercise instructor. Being in that space, feeling accepted, seeing people happy to see her, it actually helped her become the person her students saw her as, more community-focused.
A positive feedback loop.
Totally. And there's real neuroscience behind it. When you move in sync, your brain starts to blur the lines between seeing the movement and feeling your own body move. It creates one unified perception.
So the other people almost feel like an extension of yourself.
Kind of. They call it the kinesthetics of togetherness. It's
Yeah.
like that rubber arm illusion. You see a fake arm being stroked while yours is stroked hidden from view, and you start to feel the fake arm is yours. Moving in sync does something similar perceptually.
That is wild.
Isn't it? And Bronwyn Tarr's research confirms it. She studied dance groups, even used silent discos.
Silent discos, how did that work?
People wear headphones, right? So she could have some groups listening to the same beat, moving in sync, and others listening to different beats, moving individually but still together physically.
And the synchronized groups felt more bonded.
Significantly more bonded. Music helps, exertion helps, but synchrony was the most crucial component for that feeling of connection. Anthropologists think this collective joy is fundamental for building strong social ties, like social grooming in chimps.
Bonding glue, basically.
Yeah. And guess what comes back into play here?
Let me guess. Endocannabinoids.
You got it. Exercise boosts them, canvas boosts them, and social connection boosts them. Low levels are linked to loneliness, just like they're linked to anxiety.
So moving together gives you a double dose, the exercise boost and the connection boost.
Seems likely. Higher levels make you enjoy being around people more and reduce social anxiety. Blocking them in animals makes them neglect their young. It shows how vital this system is for our social nature.
Wow. And we see this in real life, like with that Good Gym group in London.
Oh, Good Gym is amazing. They combine running with doing good deeds in the community. This woman, Nicolette, was running with them in pouring rain, ran right past her own house.
Tempting to just bail.
Totally. But she said the camaraderie was so strong, everyone laughing and chatting despite being soaked, she just couldn't leave them.
That's powerful.
And it's not just running. They run at a talking pace, have walking groups, always make sure no one's left behind. Then they stop and do actual work, painting, gardening, sorting donations, helping the homeless.
So it's shared effort and shared purpose.
Exactly. Nicolette feels such pride seeing things they've done in the community. She calls them her good gym family, feels she can rely on them for anything. That's real belonging.
And that's something technology struggles to replicate, right? Even with things like Peloton.
Well, yes and no. Jennifer Weiss, the surgeon using Peloton, feels like she's riding in a pack, even though she's in her garage. Virtual reality can mimic the endorphin rush, the synchrony effect to some extent.
But it's not quite the same.
The source argues it won't necessarily provide the same benefits as the experience it mimics. There's that irreplaceable human touch, like when the author's sister had premature twins.
Oh yeah, the running group story.
Right. They didn't just text. They showed up, got her race bibs for the 10K she missed, told her to run around the hospital. She and her husband did, pinned on the bibs, wore the medals, felt very embraced when everything felt out of control.
You don't get that from an app.
You really don't. And it's telling that Jennifer Weiss, the Peloton user, ended up buying a second bike so her husband could ride with her in the garage. And their kids dance alongside. We still crave that shared physical presence.
That need for real connection, it reminds me of the shared hardship idea too, like the military marching drills.
William McNeil's account. Yeah, he thought marching was pointless at first. But after hours of doing it together, in formation, synchronized, he felt this pervasive well-being, this personal enlargement, shared struggle moving together, forged a powerful bond.
We see that in other contexts too, like the Relay for Life.
Exactly. Polina Davydenko walking for 24 hours straight after her grandmother's cancer diagnosis, feeling you're not alone in it. Or the Jazzercise event on the USS Midway Thousands, moving as one, strong alone, unstoppable together, merging into a powerful we.
It's a force multiplier emotionally, even in crisis recovery.
Definitely. After the huge earthquake in Japan, group exercise was more effective for mental health than walking alone. Or the Zumba classes in Houston after Hurricane Harvey, helping people get back on our feet together. Collective movement is incredibly healing.
Which brings us beautifully to another huge element that shapes our experience of movement. Music.
Music. It's literally called ergogenic.
Meaning?
Work enhancing. Your brain hears music it likes and bang, adrenaline, dopamine, endorphins. It energizes you, makes you push harder, even dulls pain. People have known this intuitively forever using work songs and marching songs.
Like that runner, Tucker Anderson, hitting the wall on the NYC Marathon.
And then someone blasts Eye of the Tiger. Suddenly, he's Rocky. He can push through. The music, the association, it just bypasses the pain signals.
It's amazing how powerful those associations can be.
Totally. Bennett Konesny, the farmer who studies work songs, he says when they sing while working, the pain just disappears like I've taken Advil. They work harder, faster, feel euphoric, lose track of time.
So what makes a song a power song? Is there a formula?
Dr. Kostas Karageorgis studies this. Power songs usually have a strong beat, feel energetic, often around 120, 140 beats per minute. But crucially, they also have strong extra musical associations, lyrics, the artist, memories, maybe a movie scene.
Like Eye of the Tiger.
Exactly. Those associations trigger positive emotions and distract you from how hard you're working. It's the neat trick the brain plays.
Beyond just powering through, music is pure joy expression too, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's a feedback loop. Happy-sounding music, upbeat, major key, higher pitch, makes us feel happy. And then it makes us move in happy ways. Think Pharrell's Happy video.
Strutting, clapping, jumping.
Yeah, it's like an instruction manual for joyful movement. And those movements, big, fast, vertical, arms up, chest open, they actually amplify the feeling of joy.
And that's universal, not just a Western thing.
It seems to be. That Dartmouth study with piano tunes and bouncing balls showed this link is cross-cultural. Bhangra dance, Hava Nagila, the Maasai jumping. It's all about expressing elation, and it's contagious. We turn the individual jump for joy into a collective dance.
Beautiful. And music heals, too, profoundly, like Miriam with Parkinson's.
Such a moving story. The music from West Side Story made her feel lightness and ease, graceful instead of clumsy. And their ritual of passing our joy in a circle, it's just beautiful communal healing.
Or Amara McPhee, recovering from surgery, using her power songs to feel cheered on, even alone in the hospital.
Yeah, Rihanna and RuPaul transporting her. And the author's grandfather using music for his headaches. And then that final mummer strut without his walker. Music tapping into some deep reserve of life force.
It taps into memory so powerfully, too, like remembering skiing when hearing Strict Peppers.
Or Josh White, the Elvis impersonator in nursing homes. Seeing people who are non-communicative suddenly sing along to a cherished song. Those musical memories seem incredibly durable, even when other cognitive functions fade.
Music really is woven deep into us, and it shapes our family bonds.
Like Bernie Salazar dancing with his daughter anywhere, anytime, letting go of self-consciousness to share that joy. Or the author's grandparents singing Always, their first dance song, as a ritual. These moments become the texture of our lives.
All these experiences, the personal struggles, the collective joy, the music, they lead to this idea of movement actually changing how we see ourselves, right? Crafting a new story.
Precisely. Movement has this potent ability to change our most deeply held stories about who we are. And it happens through something called proprioception.
Proprioception, that's the body's sense of itself in space.
Exactly. Receptors in your muscles, tendons, joints constantly feed info to your brain about your position, your effort, your movement, and the sensory data is incredibly convincing.
So if you move gracefully,
your brain gets the data, smooth, elongated movements, and the message becomes, I am graceful. Move powerfully. Explosive muscle contractions. The message is, I am powerful. Move with strength, overcome resistance. I am strong. It's embodied truth.
it's not just thinking it, it's knowing it in your body. Like the author's sister feeling tough during the horrible part of her run.
Right. I'm doing this hard thing. I'm still doing it. I'm tough.
That's proprioception building self-belief in real time.
And Tough Mudder seems designed to tap into this transformation.
It really does. The author initially thought it was just a jungle gym for masochists, right? Electric shocks, tear gas. Sounds awful.
Yeah, not my idea of fun.
But people who did it talked about discovery, empowerment, redemption, not just pain.
So it's about the story you tell afterwards.
That's what the designer, Nolan Comball, says. The surface story is, I ran through fire, but the deep story is, I did something I never thought I could do. It's about shattering perceived limits.
And teamwork is huge, but it evolved organically. Yeah. People just started tying shirts together to climb a muddy hill. Comball saw that and realized the power of spontaneous helping. Now they design obstacles like Pyramid Scheme specifically for teamwork.
Tapping into that human desire to help and connect.
Right, that feeling of, I gotcha. But just as important, Comball realized, is the chance to be helped, to be rescued.
Like the firewalkers in Spain carrying loved ones, the carriers look determined, but the ones being carried look purely happy.
Exactly. It's knowing I matter enough to be saved. Animals do it too. Dolphins, birds, ants signal for help because they matter to the group. Tough Mudder offers both the chance to be the hero and the chance to be supported.
Proving your strength, but also accepting help, which ties into the big stretch idea, pushing past limits to discover something new.
Like Katie Norris, the coach who avoided the partner Carrie for years due to body shame.
Yeah, and then finally did it on the beach, listening to the moment, not the old story.
A total breakthrough. And it changed how she coaches, reframing deadlifts as embracing yourself with your own muscles.
Or the author mastering that scary yoga pose, King Pigeon. Taking over a year, needing help at first.
But finally doing it alone. Feeling like someone ready for an unknown adventure. That embodied lesson sticks.
And places like DPI Adaptive Fitness basically specialize in creating these transformative stretches for people with major injuries.
It's incredible. They set meaningful life intentions, walking again, driving, and break them down into concrete physical goals. Squats, pull-ups, building strength, building hope.
The Wall of Greatness stories are amazing. Miss Ruth's 1,000 squats, Joanna walking in braces, Andre's 5-minute leg stand.
It's hope made tangible. And hope itself is powerful. Jerome Groopman defines it as seeing a path to a better future in your mind's eye.
And that actually helps you endure.
Yeah. The ice water experiment inducing hope made people last a full minute longer. When painful effort feels purposeful, like it's getting you towards a goal, your brain releases more endorphins and endocannabinoids. You can literally train your hope.
Wow. And we can also learn possibility just by watching others through embodied empathy.
Right. Watching Kobe dunk makes your motor cortex light up as if you were doing it. We see movement potentially producible by a human body, and therefore by our own. It expands our sense of what's possible.
So seeing someone ring that personal record bell at the CrossFit gym isn't just inspiring, it's neurologically contagious.
Kind of. You catch hope. It creates this atmosphere where collective belief works, where you absorb the possibility just by being there.
Okay, so from the gym, let's head outdoors. What unique magic happens when we move in nature?
Nature seems to have this special healing quality, especially for grief or anxiety. Susan Hurd's story is so powerful. Deeply depressed after her son David died.
His motto was embrace life.
Yes. She started walking her dog more, then joined a running group near a fish hatchery out in nature. And that's where she started to feel David's presence.
Seeing a fox, a cardinal. Hi, David.
Exactly. It gave her a different sense of being alive, being connected to your world. Nature became her space for healing and connection.
Is there a reason nature has that effect?
The theory is our brains evolved with two modes: social thinking, group cooperation, and foraging cognition, cooperating with nature. Our modern lives, often indoors and online, overemphasize the social ruminative side.
Okay.
Green exercise, moving outdoors, reconnects us to that other mode. An open awareness to the environment with curiosity and hope. It pulls us out of our heads and into the present moment, open to the world.
A different default state. More mindful.
Exactly. It counters the internal focus that can feed anxiety and depression.
And this ties into E.O. Wilson's biophilia idea, our innate need to connect with nature.
Right. It's about the will to live, the impulse to grow. Even Don Pettit, the astronaut growing zucchini in space using unconventional materials.
Soiled underwear and toilet paper.
Yes. That little plant became the bright spot, a connection to life. Or the green gym turning a puddle into a thriving ecosystem. It shows how communities, like nature, can flourish.
Which brings us back to purposeful movement, like with Green Gym.
Their tagline, physical activity with a purpose. Greg Lister's pitch is brilliant. Instead of lifting things in a gym that don't need lifting, come help us achieve something real as a group.
And people feel more optimistic, more useful, more connected.
And it's measurable. That study showed volunteering boosted a physiological marker of purpose in life and reduced anxiety and depression. It's like tending green spaces, push them back into life.
So the challenge for listeners, find your purposeful movement. Volunteer, garden, clean up a park. Something that feels useful and connects you.
Absolutely. And that sense of purpose fuels our capacity for endurance, which is our final big theme.
The world of ultra-endurance, it's exploded, hasn't it?
Massively. From hundreds completing ultramarathons in 1980 to tens of thousands now. Events like the Spartathlon 6 marathons in 36 hours, or the Iditarod Trail Invitational 30 days through Alaskan blizzards.
Mind-boggling feats. They test more than just the body.
They teach profound lessons about enduring the seemingly unendurable. Sean Bearden, the ultra runner, described that feeling of the finish line never getting closer, time stretching out, gravity feeling heavier.
Like descriptions of depression, that slow, dragging time.
Exactly. It highlights that universal struggle with things feeling endless.
But the lesson isn't about avoiding pain, is it? It's about moving forward with it.
That's what Jennifer Fard Davis learned hiking the Appalachian Trail. You don't have to get rid of the pain to move forward. You can make progress and appreciate the times when life isn't as much of a struggle. It's acceptance and persistence.
Carrying on, even when it feels impossible.
And the stories are just incredible. Roberto Zanda, the tough one, losing hands and feet to frostbite in the Yukon.
And declaring from his hospital bed he'll keep racing on prosthetics, signing up for a 155-mile race just weeks later.
Unbelievable spirit. Or Tara Schneider doing the Eco Challenge, that brutal 10-day race. Her idea of the big stretch, an experience that forces you to expand your self-concept.
Pushing limits, climbing that 600-foot granite slab.
These are the experiences that change you fundamentally.
Because knowing that you did it never leaves you.
Exactly. Like the author finally overcoming her rock-climbing fear after 15 years. Inspired by Schneider, supported by her husband, buoyed by a kid climbing nearby. She did it.
And the lesson she took wasn't just about her own strength.
Right. It was seeing another's bravery opening possibilities, and crucially, realizing that when she faced her wall, support showed up. Family, friends, even strangers rallied.
So the takeaway for listeners is to reflect on your big stretches, or ones you've witnessed. What lesson serves you best going forward? Polish that memory.
Beautifully put.
So we've covered a massive amount of ground. From brain chemistry to collective joy, music, self-perception, nature, endurance.
It all points to the same thing. Movement isn't just physical. It's deeply, fundamentally tied to our mental well-being, our connections, our purpose, our resilience. It changes our brains, bodies, and stories.
And the best part, accessing this isn't complicated. The core message is so simple.
Move. Any kind, any amount, and any way that makes you happy.
Move whatever parts still move, with gratitude. Move alone, move together. Move indoors, move outdoors.
Move to music. Move in silence. Set goals that mean something to you. Take baby steps, then dare to take a big stretch.
Try new things, explore new identities through how you move. Pay attention to how it feels, how it changes you. Listen to your body.
Find what feels good.
Yeah.
Look for the meaning. And definitely look for places and people that inspire you, that welcome you.
Follow your own joy.
Because those transformative qualities, persistence, pleasure, belonging, purpose, they're waiting inside all of us. We just need to awaken to them, pay attention. It's a journey of discovering yourself through motion.
Thank you for taking this deep dive with us into the joy of movement. We hope it inspires you to find your own joy in moving. We'll see you next time.